let's say Trey Lance wins this job, becomes a starting quarterback, and the Niners get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. That's almost 24 million in salary cap space that just opens up out of nowhere.
Yep.
They could roll it over to next year, or they could spend it. What could they do with this?
They could do a lot of things. So I look at the 49ers right now and I say this team probably isn't ready to win. And I know that we'll tackle that a little bit more later. But with that being said, if you add a good pass rusher, either a Houston or a Melvin Ingram, something like that, and you add a decent corner, whether it's Gilmore or somebody else, you can now afford players like that. You add those types of players to this roster, they're in a much better position. They're a lot closer to 2019 than they ever were, okay? If you decide not to spend that money, you now have an extra $25 million going into next season. So the way that it works is if the salary cap is $200 million, you only spend $175. That means going into next season, you have $225 million to spend, where the rest of the league only has $200 million to spend.
That's true.
Gives you a major advantage. And the third thing you can do is a combination of both. You can sign a couple players, still save about $10 million, and win in both worlds. I guess there is one last thing you could do. You could take contracts like Eric Armstead's, George Kittle's, and you can take that backloaded money and move it up front. So that way you can save money down the road as well. No matter what option you go with, it's all good for the team long term.
Yeah, and I think I might be a little bit more bullish on the Niners prospects this year than Jesse. And while this is good for the Niners long term, it's also good for the Niners now. Now you get the worst contract on the team off the books, and you have an opportunity to add multiple high-level players. I mean, if you look at Seattle, for example, Seattle's spending $33 million something on Russell Wilson, $17 million on Bobby Wagner. And then after that, they got a bunch of players making like $2-3 million. The Niners have much more of a middle class in their roster, and this is an opportunity to get 3 more guys making $5 million a year, a guy making $10 million a year. They could sign Justin Houston. They could get real good players.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely,
as opposed to like rookies or afterthoughts. So, I mean, I look at the NFC as wide open. It's run by a team with a quarterback who's 44. God knows what could happen to him.
For sure.
You never know. And if something happened to him, who's the favorite in the NFC? I mean, the Seahawks, Green Bay. I mean, I don't really like those teams that much. I like their quarterbacks. I don't like those teams. I feel like Arizona is set up because they got a young quarterback, but no one has confidence in their head coach. So
no,
I think the Niners, they may not feel like, I mean, they're going to be better next year, but the NFC is so wide open that they owe it to themselves to like put their best foot forward. And I think that involves getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo's. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
With Jimmy Garoppolo's $27 million
no, they're not.
contract on the books. They're not. They got to get rid of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, it is open. Right now, as the team's constructed, probably not. But you're not many moves away, right? Yeah. And so if you can save money in the future and add a very good player or two, that's the best of both worlds. That's what I'm looking to do with Jimmy G's contract. That's another reason he has to go.
Sebastian Martinez says, re-sign our players, rest, rollover, spend space. Yeah, that could work too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, what they could do is like, you could at least leave yourself open for a trade deadline move.
Yes.
Say you need to do something and you feel like you're a contender this year. Do it. Otherwise, roll it over. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, assess the season just like you did in 2019. Make a trade deadline deal like you did for Emmanuel Sanders. That's always available to you.
True. James E. Underwood says, big fan. You speak the truth, and some players can't handle good or bad criticism. Big boy Mike, listen to you. LOL. We'll see what he brings to the table. Yeah. Thank you, James. I appreciate it.